Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you truly thought about yourself? Not your boss, not your neighbor, not what people on social media think, you. Because here's the truth. If you don't think about yourself, if you don't prioritize your own growth, your own dreams, your own purpose, then guess what? The world will gladly distract you into thinking about everything else. And you'll wake up one day realizing you've been living someone else's life. Let me ask you a question that most people never take time to answer. How long can you keep giving before you run dry? You see, the world will applaud you for giving, but it will rarely remind you to refill. And here's the truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. Too many people are living life drained, depleted, and distracted because they've been told that thinking about themselves is selfish. But I'm here to tell you, the most unselfish thing you can do is to take care of yourself first so that you can show up powerfully for others. Think about it. When an airplane is about to take off, the flight attendant says, in case of emergency, secure your own oxygen mask first before helping others. Why? Because if you pass out trying to help somebody else, you're not saving them. You're both in trouble. That's life. If you don't secure your own oxygen, your health, your mind, your spirit, your finances, you won't have the strength, the clarity, or the resources to help anyone else. So stop letting guilt convince you that prioritizing yourself is wrong. It's not wrong. It's wisdom. I want you to imagine yourself as a well that gives water to a whole community. Now, if the well is deep, clean, and constantly replenished, people will always find refreshment there. But if the well runs dry, no matter how many people come with their buckets, you've got nothing left to give. That's exactly how many of us are living. We're letting people come with their buckets every day, asking for time, energy, advice, money, encouragement. And we give and give until the water is gone. And then instead of refilling ourselves, we feel guilty for being empty. You've got to flip that script. You've got to recognize that your first responsibility is to keep the well full. Now, here's the hook. You cannot help the world effectively if you are empty internally. People don't benefit from your exhaustion, they benefit from your overflow. You hear what I'm saying? It's not your emptiness that blesses people, it's your abundance. It's when you're healthy that you can help someone who's sick. It's when you're financially strong that you can help somebody struggling. It's when your mind is clear and sharp that you can give wise counsel. So stop celebrating burnout as if it's a badge of honor. Burnout is not a sign of commitment, it's a sign of neglect. And the person you've been neglecting is yourself. Ask yourself right now, what's in your cup? Are you filling your mind with wisdom, or are you just reacting to the noise of the world? Are you feeding your body with strength, or are you running on fumes and fast food? Are you nurturing your spirit with faith and purpose, or are you drowning in worry and fear? Because the truth is, whatever's in your cup will eventually spill over into your life and into the lives of those you touch. If your cup is full of stress, that's what overflows. If it's full of doubt, that's what overflows. But if it's full of strength, peace, clarity, and abundance, that's what overflows too. I'm not telling you to ignore people. I'm telling you to understand this principle. Your overflow is their blessing. When you think about yourself, when you invest in yourself, when you protect your time, your energy, and your vision, you don't just help you. You help everybody connected to you because you show up at your best. You are no good to anyone if you are broken, bitter, or bankrupt. So make a decision today. Stop running on empty. Stop trying to save the world while ignoring the very vessel God gave you to deliver impact. Fill your cup, keep it full, and then pour into others from the overflow. That's how you create a life of abundance, service, and lasting impact. Let me ask you something. What is the most valuable thing you own right now? Some people will say their car, some will say their house, others might say their business or their bank account. But the truth is, none of those are your greatest asset. The most valuable thing you own, the very thing that will determine how far you go and how much you grow, is your mind. And here's the hook. If you don't learn to guard it, grow it, and guide it, life will rob you of everything it has the potential to create. Your mind is the factory where your future is manufactured. Every idea, every belief, every decision comes through it. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and comparison, then your life will reflect exactly that. But if your mind is filled with possibility, vision, and faith, then you will start to attract opportunities that match what you think about most. That's not theory, that's law. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The problem is, most people spend more time filling their gas tank than they do filling their mental tank. They'll protect their car from bad fuel, but they'll feed their mind junk every day and then wonder why they can't move forward. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of negativity, seeds of fear, seeds of worry, you're going to reap a harvest of stress and stagnation. But if you plant seeds of discipline, seeds of wisdom, seeds of possibility, you're going to reap a harvest of growth and success. The challenge is, weeds don't need permission to grow. Weeds of distraction, weeds of laziness, weeds of doubt, they show up uninvited. And if you don't intentionally cultivate your mind, those weeds will take over. That's why thinking about yourself means making your mind a priority. You've got to pull out the weeds and plant the right seeds. Here's another hook. You don't get paid by the hour, you get paid by the value you bring to the hour. And where does that value come from? It comes from your mind. It comes from the wisdom you've gathered, the skills you've mastered, the solutions you've created. Two people can work the same 8 hours, but one walks away with minimum wage while the other walks away with maximum wealth. The difference is not the time, it's the mind. That's why I say your mind is your greatest asset, because if you develop it, it will open doors that no amount of physical labor ever could. Think about this. Every invention, every business, every breakthrough you've ever seen started in somebody's mind. The device you're using to hear my voice, the car you drive, the building you live in, all of it was an idea in somebody's mind before it became a reality in the world. If they had ignored their thoughts, if they had dismissed their creativity, those things would not exist. And the same is true for you. There are ideas locked inside your mind that the world is waiting for, but you've got to value your mind enough to unlock them. Stop letting the world program your thinking with fear and mediocrity. Stop scrolling endlessly and calling it relaxation. Stop letting people dump their doubt and negativity into your mental space. Protect your mind like it's a vault, because it is. Inside it are treasures that can change your life and the lives of everyone around you. If you fill it with wisdom, it will produce wealth. If you fill it with faith, it will produce courage. If you fill it with strategy, it will produce results. Your mind is your greatest asset, but here's the key. It only pays dividends if you invest in it. Read the books, listen to the mentors, study the principles, sharpen your skills. Because when your mind expands, your life expands. And once it expands, it can never shrink back. That's the power of growth. Let me ask you something that might sting a little. How much rent are you paying in your own mind to people who don't even live your life? Too many people are walking around with crowded minds, and the tenants aren't their own thoughts. They're the voices of critics, doubters, and spectators. The truth is, most people are broke not because they don't have potential, but because they've rented out their mental space to opinions that don't serve them. Here's the hook. Your destiny is too valuable to let somebody else's cheap opinion occupy the most expensive real estate you own. And that's your mind. Think about it. Every time you hesitate to take a step forward because you're worried about what someone might say, you've just given them space in your head. Every time you water down your dream to make somebody else comfortable, you've given them the keys to your mental house. Every time you replay their criticism, instead of replaying your vision, you're paying rent to somebody who doesn't even deserve a parking spot in your life. And the worst part, most of those people who you're giving power to aren't even thinking about you. They dropped their opinion and moved on, but you're the one stuck carrying it like luggage. You've got to get this. Other people's opinions do not determine your outcome. Their opinions don't pay your bills. They don't raise your children. They don't fund your business. And they don't build your future. If you let their voices be louder than your own, you'll spend your whole life building their comfort zone instead of your calling. It's time to evict those voices and reclaim your mental space. I want you to picture your mind like a skyscraper. At the top floor, the penthouse suite, that's where your purpose lives. That's where your vision resides. That's where your future self is waiting. But if you let other people's opinions fill up the rooms on the lower floors, they will weigh you down so much you'll never make it to the top. They'll fill your mental building with noise and doubt until the foundation cracks. And here's the reality: no one else is going to clear them out for you. You've got to be the landlord of your own thoughts. Here's the hook: people's opinions about you are a reflection of them, not you. When someone tells you that you can't do something, it's not about your ability, it's about their vision. They can't see it for themselves, so they assume you can't either. When they say your dream is too big, what they're really saying is, it's too big for me. You've got to stop taking other people's limitations as your truth. Their ceiling doesn't have to be your ceiling. Their fear doesn't have to be your fear. Their doubt doesn't have to be your reality. The tragedy is that some people spend their entire lives imprisoned by opinions that were never even accurate. A teacher told them they weren't smart enough, and they believed it. A boss told them they weren't leadership material, and they carried that label for years. A friend laughed at their idea and they buried their dream because of it. But let me ask you, why would you let someone who stopped believing in themselves be the authority on what's possible for you? One, you stop renting space to other people's opinions. You create room for your own voice to rise. You create room for vision, room for creativity, room for purpose. You create room for the whispers of God telling you who you are and what you're capable of. That voice matters more than any critic, any doubter, any naysayer. Your mind was designed to be filled with possibility, not pollution. And the moment you decide to evict the opinions of others, you'll hear your own potential more clearly. The world doesn't need a version of you that's shaped by everyone else's expectations. The world needs the version of you that's bold enough to believe, brave enough to act, and strong enough to shut the door on the noise. So stop renting space in your mind to people who haven't paid the price for your future. Your mind is your kingdom. Protect it, rule it, and let your vision be the loudest voice in the room. Most people have been programmed to believe that if they think about themselves, they're being selfish. But let me flip that on its head for you. Thinking about yourself is the most generous thing you can do. Here's the hook. When you rise, everyone connected to you rises. When you improve your life, you expand the possibilities for others. When you elevate yourself, you automatically elevate the people who depend on you, who look up to you, and who are inspired by you. Think about it. When you earn more, your family eats better, lives better, and dreams bigger. When you discipline yourself, your children inherit habits that set them up for life. When you grow your faith, you create a spiritual covering for the people around you. When you level up your thinking, your circle starts to think higher too. Your life becomes a model of what's possible, and that's not selfish. That's service at the highest level. The problem is, too many people have been taught to shrink so others feel comfortable. They dim their light so nobody complains about the brightness. They lower their standards so others won't feel challenged. But here's the truth. You don't serve people by staying small. You serve people by showing them how big life can be when you step fully into your purpose. Your elevation gives others permission to rise. Picture this, you're climbing a mountain. If you stop halfway because you don't want others to feel left behind, not only do you miss the view, but you can't reach back and help anyone else up. But if you keep climbing, if you get to the top, now you've got the strength, the vantage point, and the rope to pull others with you. That's what happens when you think about yourself. You get stronger, you get wiser, you get wealthier, and then you use that strength, wisdom, and wealth to lift others higher. Here's the hook. Your breakthrough is not just about you. It's about the people who are watching you, the people who will be inspired by your story, the people who will say, if they can do it, I can too. You may not realize it, but your journey is someone else's survival guide. The moment you decide to elevate yourself, you create a blueprint for others to follow. That's why you can't afford to play small. Too many people are counting on you to rise. Every community, every family, every organization needs someone who dares to think differently, someone who dares to grow beyond average. And when you decide to be that person, when you decide to focus on your growth, your wealth, your health, your vision, You become a source of inspiration and transformation for everyone around you. Don't underestimate the power of your example. People may not listen to your words, but they will watch your life. And when your life is elevated, it becomes a testimony that lifts others. Now, let me give you something practical. The next time you're tempted to feel guilty about focusing on yourself, I want you to remember this: your success is not just for you. Your success funds opportunities for your children. Your growth creates jobs for other people. Your wisdom prevents others from repeating mistakes. Your health allows you to show up strong for those who need you. Every step you take to improve yourself multiplies far beyond your own life. So the next time somebody says, "Why are you so focused on yourself?" you can smile and say, "Because my family needs me strong. My community needs me wealthy. My children need me wise. My future needs me prepared." That's not selfish. That's stewardship. That's leadership. That's love. And the world doesn't rise when you shrink. The world rises when you shine. Let me ask you a bold question. When was the last time you invested in yourself without hesitation, without guilt, without apology? Most people will spend hundreds or even thousands on clothes, on gadgets, on entertainment. But when it comes to their personal growth, suddenly they start counting pennies. And here's the hook. If you hesitate to invest in yourself, you're silently telling the world you don't believe you're worth it. But the truth is, the best investment you will ever make is not in a stock, not in real estate, not in cryptocurrency. It's in you. Every dollar you put into your growth multiplies. Every book you read, every seminar you attend, every mentor you learn from, every skill you sharpen, it all compounds into a version of you that can never go back to average. The reason most people stay stuck is not because opportunity isn't available, but because they're too afraid or too cheap to invest in the one thing that guarantees a return: their own mind, their own skills, their own development. And let me be clear, cheap and broke are not the same thing. Broke is a financial condition. Cheap is a mindset. You can be broke and still invest in yourself because you know growth will change your condition. But you can have money and still be cheap. And if you refuse to invest in yourself, you'll stay limited no matter how much cash passes through your hands. Think about this for a moment. If you don't invest in yourself, you are gambling your future on luck. You're hoping doors open, hoping opportunities come, hoping somebody rescues you. But if you invest in yourself, you create the doors, you attract the opportunities, and you become the rescue someone else is praying for. That's the difference between waiting for a miracle and becoming one. Here's the hook. You can't withdraw from an account you never deposited into. Too many people want big results, but they've made small deposits into their own growth. They want wealth without learning wealth principles. They want leadership without developing leadership skills. They want impact without investing in influence. Life doesn't work like that. If you don't put anything in, you can't take anything out. But the more you put into yourself, the more you have to pull from when life demands it. People will criticize you when they see you investing in yourself. They'll say you're wasting money, wasting time, wasting energy. But the same people will cheer for you once the results show up. The irony is, the very things they mock you for in private, they will admire you for in public. So don't you dare apologize for choosing growth. Don't apologize for buying that course, for hiring that coach, for attending that event, for reading that book. Don't apologize for investing your time in learning when others are wasting theirs in distraction. Because one day, those same people will come to you for help, and you'll realize that the investment you made wasn't just for you, it was for them too. If you want people to take you seriously, you've got to take yourself seriously first. Stop expecting the world to pay you for value you never created. Stop expecting results from skills you never sharpened. Stop expecting a harvest from seeds you never planted. If you want to be paid like a professional, you've got to invest like one. If you want to live like a leader, you've got to think like one, act like one, and grow like one. So I'll leave you with this thought. Every time you hesitate to invest in yourself, you delay your future. Every time you say, I can't afford it, what you're really saying is, I can't afford to become better. But the truth is, you can't afford not to. The world doesn't reward excuses, it rewards excellence. And excellence only comes when you're willing to pay the price to become the person capable of producing it. Your growth is your greatest responsibility, and the moment you stop apologizing for investing in yourself, you'll unlock the freedom, the wealth, and the impact you've been chasing all along. Let me ask you this. How much of your life have you lost to distractions that had nothing to do with your destiny? Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they lose focus. They're busy, but they're not productive. They're moving, but they're not progressing. And here's the hook. Your future is too valuable to be sacrificed on the altar of distraction. Your future demands your focus. The truth is, you can't create an extraordinary future with ordinary attention. The future you want, the wealth, the freedom, the impact, requires intentional concentration. You can't keep splitting your focus between everything that doesn't matter and expect to create something that does. Your destiny is like a seed, and if you scatter your energy all over the place, nothing grows. But when you direct your focus, when you pour your energy into your purpose, the seed explodes into a harvest that multiplies far beyond you. Think about it. Every day you wake up, you're either feeding your future or feeding your distractions. If you spend your time scrolling, gossiping, watching, and waiting, then don't be surprised when your future looks just like your present. But if you spend your time learning, building, practicing, creating, then your future has no choice but to reflect the seeds you planted. The question is not whether your future will show up. It will. The question is, what kind of future are you creating right now with your focus? Here's the hook. Focus is the currency of success. Where you spend it determines what you get back. If you spend your focus on excuses, you'll always be broke. If you spend your focus on growth, you'll always expand. If you spend your focus on fear, you'll live stuck. But if you spend your focus on faith, on vision, on purpose, you'll create a life that others will call impossible. Focus is not free, it's an investment. And whatever you invested in will compound over time. Distractions don't come to waste your time, they come to rob your destiny. Every wasted hour is not just an hour lost. It's a piece of your future delayed. That's why the enemy of greatness isn't always failure, it's often distraction. failure at least teaches you something. Distraction just steals from you quietly while you think you're fine. You can always recover from a failure, but you may never recover the years lost to distraction if you don't take control now. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're driving a car toward your dream. If you keep looking out the side window at what everybody else is doing, you're going to crash. If you keep staring in the rearview mirror at your past, you're never going to see what's ahead. The only way to get to your destination is to focus on the road in front of you. That's your life. You can't afford to keep looking at what people are saying, what mistakes you made, or what fears are whispering. Your future is straight ahead, but only your focus can take you there. And don't miss this. Your future self is depending on you. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you will meet the person you've been building with your daily focus. That version of you will either thank you for being disciplined or blame you for being distracted. Every choice you make today is shaping the person you're becoming tomorrow. Your future demands that you protect your focus like your life depends on it, because in reality, it does. So the next time you feel pulled towards something meaningless, remind yourself that every minute matters. The next time someone tries to drag you into drama or doubt, remember your focus is too expensive to spend on cheap conversations. The next time fear tempts you to pause, remember your future doesn't wait. It only rewards the focused. Your future is already written in the language of your focus today. And if you decide right now to guard it, to direct it, to master it, then you'll step into a life so powerful that people will wonder how you did it. But you'll know the answer. You focused.